These guys don't look pleased to see us.
By order of the Supreme Guardian, proceed no further, Miss Topaz.
Bellabog might be in arrears, but I'm out of pocket. See you later, Captain.
I understand. Welcome back. I appreciate your help more than I can express. It couldn't have been easy running all over the city.
That's what friends are for, Branya. You don't sound like yourself. Is something wrong?
I'm fine. I haven't rested in a while. There's just too much happening all at once. They're moving quickly. Bellabog is crawling with their agents. All they talk about is asset evaluation. The silver lining is that apart from the mine incident you mentioned, there haven't been any major conflicts in other areas. I suppose Topaz must have issued an order against harassing the citizenry. Still, that hasn't stopped panic from building. People are confused. They don't know where these strangers in black came from, nor what their intentions are.
Did you manage to get in touch with Topaz again? We're curious to know what solution she has in mind.
That's the reason I asked for you to come here. I need your advice. Look.
It's...
The contract Topaz sent to me a little while ago. There's a handwritten letter attached. Please, take a look at the contents, and then tell me your thoughts.
Miss Branya, if you'll permit me to call you that, I'd like to share a story with you from my own life. In your eyes, the IPC may seem heartless or cruel, but in reality, we all have a story to tell. As for myself, I was born on a small, unremarkable planet at the edge of the galaxy, a place whose name is known only to the native inhabitants. My home planet was extremely resource poor. To survive, people worked laboriously, manufacturing products for other civilizations in the galaxy, mostly in chemical or heavy industries. Given these circumstances, the natural environment of my home planet became increasingly harsh. I don't recall the exact moment when it happened, but people started wearing respirators just to walk down the street. All you could hear were the wheezing coughs of the people, day and night. My home was facing its demise. The relatively wealthy chose interstellar migration and started anew. The majority who stayed could only struggle on amidst sewage, acid rain, and dust, waiting for the end. Finally, one fateful day, the IPC arrived on my home planet. They had the technology to repair our planet's damaged environment. In return for their help, they asked for just one thing: that all inhabitants sign a contract which would make them employees of the IPC. 2 years after signing the contract, the dark clouds and haze disappeared, and people began to take off their masks. After 3 years, vegetation and trees began to grow and thrive again. After 5 years, many animals, previously on the brink of extinction, reappeared. When I was finally old enough, I officially became a member of the Strategic Investment Department. I witnessed the changes that took place on my home world, and was determined to bring the same changes to many other worlds in the galaxy that were experiencing the same plight. I am writing to you, Miss Branya, with the genuine desire to express something important. I know freedom is precious to people, but in reality, there are things of much greater value, such as survival. How many generations of Belabogians will it take to embrace the stars again without assistance? Who can guarantee that every future Guardian will be as prudent and enlightened as you? How can you guarantee that a disaster such as the Stellaron crisis will not descend upon Belobog yet again? I have already negotiated the best possible deal for you. Once you sign this contract, all of Belobog's debts will be forgiven. In addition, the IPC will set up a special team to support the reconstruction of Urilla 6. I can understand that for you, this is an extremely difficult decision because you, and you alone, will bear the fate of all Belabogians. But because of this, I believe that you will make the right decision. A decision that will truly benefit your people.
Her words do sound quite sincere. What do you make of it?
I agree. But it struck me as an honest letter. I found the contents quite moving. It's hard to imagine she'd write something like this just to deceive me. In any case, she wasn't wrong when she said this would be an extremely difficult decision. This planet's fate, the civilization it carries, everything that's happened here and everything that will happen, it all rests in my hands. This definitely can't, and shouldn't, be a decision made by me alone. That thought has crossed my mind. It comforts me to hear you say that.
Right. I don't think it's fair for you to carry the weight alone. Why not discuss it with others first?
Topaz hasn't given me much time to consider. She wants me to decide as soon as possible. I wanted to put it to a vote, and let all the citizens of both the overworld and the underworld have their say. But with such little time, I'm afraid that's a lost cause. I'll convene the Klapoth Fort architects immediately to discuss the contract. As for the locals, I'd like you to gauge their stance on the matter. The people of Belobog hold both of you in high regard. They'll most certainly be willing to tell you their thoughts.
I think we should leave this matter to the Belabogians. Don't you agree? We've got your back. We failed to convince Topaz, but this should be a piece of cake.
Thank you, March. I'll assemble the ministers. Let's meet up here again later.
All right. If we want to make an informed decision, we need to hear from both the overworld and the underworld, right? Let's start...
What against the cloud song?
We meet again. How have you two been? Uh-oh. That look on your face tells me something's wrong. I hope it's nothing too serious. Sounds serious. I'm all ears. Really? You better not be making things up.
I wish it were made up. Unfortunately, it's all true. We don't have much time, Pela. Branya wants to get everyone's opinion.
Wait, you're telling me I have to make this huge decision on the spot? At least give me a few seconds to think it over. Okay, I think I've got it. If it were up to me, I'd probably agree to the IPC's conditions.
Huh. Okay. Any particular reason?
I've looked at some of the climate reports, and based on the data I've seen, it'll take 3 or 4 more generations for the snow to completely subside. And that's assuming no other disasters occur. I care more about those in the present than a future I can't be sure of. If the IPC is able to bring about immediate change, then I think that's a price well worth paying. Building a better world for future generations sounds great, right? But is it any fun for the engineers and architects who are directly involved in such a pursuit?
I see. So, compared to a distant and uncertain future, what you really care about is making sure the people around you have a good life. Thanks for your input. I'll make a note of your opinion.
Water heeds the cloud song.
Wow, look who we have here! You and Marge paying us a visit. What's the occasion? Uh-oh, sounds like something serious is happening. You'd better fill me in. What? How is that possible? I need a moment to wrap my head around this.
Serval, we're racing against the clock. No time for head wrapping.
It's okay. I've thought it through. If it were up to me, I'd sign the contract.
What? Hold on, are you serious? I thought you'd be against it for sure.
Surprised? My reasons are pretty simple. Signing this contract would mean we no longer have to worry about surviving. For most of the residents here, especially those in the underworld, that would be more than enough to persuade them. As for working for the company, people need to work no matter where they are, right? If the IPC tries to take too many liberties, we can always rise up against them. You know, I've always longed for the stars since I was a child, which is why I devoted myself to science and the studying of the Stellaron. If someone told me that I could do whatever research I wanted with only a small price to pay, I probably wouldn't hesitate.
I see. I suppose that makes sense. Thanks for your input. I'll make a note of your opinion.
Is that the Trailblazers? It's been a while. I didn't think you'd be back in Belobog so soon. It's been pretty hectic in the city lately. All these people dressed in black suddenly showed up, and even the Silvermane guards have had trouble dealing with them. Do you need my opinion? I'm happy to help. So that's who they are. It's worse than I imagined. The Madam Guardian must be under a lot of pressure. Is there really nothing we can do to assist her?
We're here to gather everyone's opinion on the matter. I know this is a little sudden, but we're running out of time. What's your take?
Why, I'd refuse the contract, of course. There is no room for compromise. Just look at them. Arrogant, stomping around here as if they own the place. How can such people be trusted? Who's to say they won't breach the contract? Faced with this sort of coercion, we must resist them with all our might. Surrendering is not an option. You must warn the Madam Guardian not to allow herself to fall into their trap.
A soldier's perspective is always valuable, Dunn. Thanks for your input. I'll make a note of your opinion. Did we miss anyone in the overworld? I think we asked just about everyone we needed to. From what I've gathered, it seems like most people in the overworld are leaning towards signing the IPC's contract. We'd better hurry to the underworld and see what Natasha and Zila make of it all.
All remains as it did yesterday. Water heeds the cloud song.
None other than the saviors of Belobog. To what do I owe the pleasure? To be honest, I'm surprised you even remembered an old geezer like me. But I can tell by the look on your faces you're probably not dropping by to say hi. Let me guess, something to do with these unruly people in black showing up everywhere? Well, ask away. It just so happens I'm curious about them myself. Maybe I can be of some help. I see. That's a tricky situation, all right. A lot for anyone to handle, let alone someone as young as Lady Bronya.
Mr. Oleg, out of all the people we know in Belobog, you have the most life experience. What do you think we should do?
Want to hear the truth? I'm afraid great ambitions and lofty plans no longer hold much appeal for an old-timer like me. If this IPC does indeed possess the magical power to restore Belobog back to its former self overnight, then I think the answer is clear. Have you considered the opposite? What about if we refuse? The reconstruction plan already sounds like an endless endeavor, and with the added burden of a massive debt, well, is that something we can manage on our own? What worries me the most is how Lady Bronya will handle the backlash from her people. Will she be able to withstand the criticism? Is she prepared to carry the weight of a tarnished reputation for years to come?
Huh. I guess I never looked at it from that angle. I wouldn't wish that title on anyone. Thank you for your thoughts, Mr. Oleg. Another vote for the 4 pile.
Water heeds the cloud song.
What brings you two to the underworld? And why the long face? Seems a little out of the blue, but since you came all this way, it must be urgent. Go ahead. That is a lot of information to take in. Sorry, both of you. I know you're in a hurry, but I need a moment to think.
No stress, Nat. Just tell us what you really think.
I've thought about it, and... well, if I were Bronya, I wouldn't sign it. I won't deny the offer on the table is a very tempting one. And if we refuse, Belobog will not only have the burden of a huge debt, we may also incite the wrath of a very powerful force. But even so, a quote I read back in school came to me just now. Those who are willing to give up freedom for security will end up with neither. Living in the underworld has taught me that this phrase is true. I'd rather trek through the frigid snow plains than live in a beautiful cage.
Wow, that's a pretty convincing argument. Another vote for the against pile. Thanks for your insight, Nat.
Water heeds the cloud song. Water heeds the cloud song.
Miss March, big sister, what brings you to the underworld?
Hey there, Clara. Is Svarog not around?
Mr. Svarog went out for a walk with a lady called Topaz.
What? Topaz? Do you know where they went?
I'm not sure, but Mr. Svarog promised he'd be back soon.
What now? Svarog's super logical. We should definitely get his opinion. True. Don Hung's always saying that Clara's really insightful for her age.
Huh? Miss March, do you want to ask me something? That's complicated. I don't know what to say.
It's all right, Clara. No pressure. Just tell us how you feel about it.
I think if we have a choice for the future, it should be everyone's decision. Because when I was playing with Hook, the moles, and the other kids, we talked about our dreams. Everyone has different dreams. If we accept Miss Topaz's offer, then doesn't that mean our dreams will never come true? Just taking away people's dreams like that. I don't know. It feels wrong.
You're right. Children see the world as a place where anything is possible. Just the thought of our lives being predestined from birth makes me shiver. Thanks, Clara. Your thoughts mean a lot to us. All that running around has worn me out. So, the final conclusion is... the votes are completely even. I don't know what to do. Both sides have really compelling arguments. Right! We haven't asked Zila. She's probably still in the Great Mine helping the miners. Come on, let's get going.
Back so soon? Any news? Are you feeling all right? You look a little uneasy. Important matter, huh? I can tell from your tone that this isn't gonna be a lighthearted chat. But I'm ready to hear it. I think I get it. At first, I thought it was just a few IPC ruffians overstepping their boundaries.
Yeah, you didn't think the future of Belobog was at stake, right?
Right. I need a little time to process this.
As it stands, the votes are even. Your opinion will make all the difference.
In that case, I abstain.
What?
No. This responsibility rests on Bronya's shoulders. Not mine. No matter the choice she makes, she has far greater foresight than I do. She can see the bigger picture more clearly than I can. The vote is tied. If I were to give you my view, it would tip the scales and possibly impact her final choice. I'll respect whatever decision she makes, but it's not my place to make it for her.
Understood, Zila. This is a difficult decision to make, and everyone feels differently about it. It's times like these that a leader must stand up and do what's needed.
Right. It's Bronya's decision. She knows what's at stake. She won't run away from her duty. I trust her wholeheartedly. If she asks you, just let her know my reasoning. She'll understand.
Well, it's all in Bronya's hands now. She has to make the final call. Right? I'm glad Belobog has someone like her in charge. The time has come. Let's go fill her in. I'm curious to see how she's handling those Klapoth ministers.
All remains as it did yesterday. Water heeds the cloud song.
A little something for everyone! Whoa, the fort's packed! I've never seen this many people here before. Jeez, I can barely even hear myself think.
March, you're back. So, what's the verdict? What do the people think?
We talked to people in both the overworld and the underworld. The final result was a tie.
I see. I suppose everyone has their own way of seeing things. I can't say I'm surprised. What was Zila's perspective on the matter? I should have known. That sounds like Zila, all right.
Did you come to a conclusion with the ministers? Oh, it's so loud I can't tell what anyone's saying.
It's pretty much the same situation here. Neither party is willing to compromise. The time has come to make a decision. This chaos cannot be allowed to continue any longer.
Enough! All of you! I know what to do.
Wait! I have something to say to the Supreme Guardian.
But aren't you?
Himeko? Wait, is that the real you or a hologram?
It's the real me, March. Real as they come.
Miss Himeko, from the Astral Express? It's an honor. Thank you for all your help in our previous campaign. Things might have turned out differently without your support. If we had known of your arrival beforehand, the architects would have given you a proper welcome. I'm afraid the current circumstances are quite exceptional.
I understand, Miss Branya. No need to explain. Your city is facing immense difficulties. My intention is simply to ensure that you have all the relevant intel. I hesitate to call it a solution, but I might have some information that might help. It is my hope that with this information, you will be better equipped as the Supreme Guardian to make a wise and informed decision.
Information? Please, tell me what you know, Miss Himeko.
I happen to have a friend with knowledge of Topaz. What Topaz said about her home world is indeed true, which is why she believes that the IPC's takeover of Belobog is the only way of ensuring the city's survival. But there is one thing she intentionally left out. Not all worlds that have accepted the IPC's terms have been saved.
You mean...
Performing ecological reconstruction on a planet carries inevitable risks. According to the intel provided by my friend, the success rate for the ecological reconstruction of worlds using the IPC's technology is 63%.
Only 63% of planets succeed? That's not exactly comforting.
This is the overall average across all IPC projects. The success rate of projects personally handled by Topaz is above 80%. She's undoubtedly one of the most capable people in her field. I wanted to bring these numbers, these probabilities, to light. I think it's only fair that you know all the facts before making a decision. Ultimately, it's up to you, Supreme Guardian, to make the final call.
I understand. Thank you, Miss Himeko. This information is of great help. Regardless of how alluring their promises may be, This contract is nothing more than a gamble. As a leader, I cannot let the future of Belobog hinge on a roll of the dice.
Now that you've decided, I don't have to pretend to be impartial anymore. I think you're making the right choice, Branya.
Astral friends, I have an idea, but for it to work, I'll need everyone's cooperation. I need some time to rally all the residents in the city, and then I'll meet with Topaz again. Please locate her for me. It doesn't matter where she is or what she's doing. And if the IPC is still trying to take over Belobog's assets, I ask that you do everything in your power to stop them.
Don't worry. Leave it to us. We'll find her. It won't be easy dealing with her, but these two will help me get the job done.
Belobog's future is not for sale. And we'll never forget the friends who stood by us in our time of need. Not once, but twice. Stay safe, everyone.
Gepard should be waiting for us in Rivet Town, right? Here we go again. Back to our old stomping grounds for another adventure.